We got Victory Monday, folks, and the offense is back.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's good, everybody? Matt Derry with you on a Victory Monday, Locked On Lions. We are into October on Tuesday, October 1st, and a Wednesday, October 2nd. Thanks for making us your first listen and checking us out wherever you get your podcast. Thank you to our everydayers who are out there that watch or listen to the program daily. Whether you're on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel, please subscribe, or listening on Spotify or Google or Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. We appreciate all of you. Locked On Lions today is brought to you by our friends at Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first ticket purchase with Gametime. You can follow us on Twitter at Derry Speaks, at Locked On Lions, Matt Derry Facebook fan page as well, where we had some fun back and forth during the game last night. Oh my goodness, my buddies Eli Wiles and Gloria Pagliarella going at it, back and forth, arguing. But hey, that's what it's all about. Good, wholesome football conversation. But coming up on the program today, it is Victory Monday. Kind of do a little bit more of a recap of what happened last night. Lions took care of business, knocked off the Seahawks 42-29. Excuse the voice, still fighting through this sinus infection and cold and cough. So we're doing the best we can here. PFF grades, we'll let you know what PFF thought of the Lions individually. Top 5 and bottom 5 Lion performers. And you guys know, who PFF loves and adores. They love Aiden Hutchinson. He graded out high again. I have a question about one of their numbers, but we'll get into that. Also, a record could be set that no team has ever had before, that the Lions are on pace to possibly do. And also, Davante Adams could be traded soon by the Las Vegas Raiders. Lions? I'm just going to throw it out there. All of that today right here on Locked On Lions. Trey Wingo is going to join us either tomorrow or Thursday from DraftKings, formerly of ESPN. Trey knows his NFL. We love Trey Wingo. He's going to join the program as well. I think either tomorrow or Thursday. So we'll have him on this week as well. Lions with a bye week. They're going to face the Cowboys next Sunday. Micah Parsons is banged up. DeMarcus Lawrence just went on the injured reserve. So Lions are going to catch a break in terms of timing when they play Dallas in a couple of weeks. All right, Lions got it done last night, 42-29. If you missed the post-game pod that we did, I'll go back and listen. But a couple of things that came out of today's press conference. First and foremost, Dan Campbell apologized and said, yes, today I gave Jared Goff a game ball. It was kind of funny because Campbell did not know and was not aware that Goff was a perfect 18 for 18 when he handed out game balls right after the game in the locker room. He gave one to Ben Johnson. He gave one to Kirby Joseph, who's having a fantastic year, by the way. And he gave one to Jamison Williams. But he did not give one to Jared Goff. And it's kind of funny because the guy who goes 18 for 18, throws for nearly 300 yards, catches a touchdown pass, throws 2 touchdowns, had a near perfect passer rating, got up to like 155, didn't get the 158.3. But regardless, to go through a game like this and to break an NFL record for most completions without an incompletion in a game. Kurt Warner was 10 for 10 in a game, was perfect. No one had done that since Warner like 20 years ago. And Goff goes 18 for 18. And yes, fans have been hard on Jared Goff. We've been harsh on him here. Like, hey, it doesn't look the same. What's going on with Goff? To go 18 for 18 against Seattle's defense, which is pretty darn good. And Seattle's defense had been really getting after the quarterback the first 3 weeks. I totally understand their strength of schedule the first few weeks was not very good. They faced bad quarterbacks. They were without Mafe and a few others on their D-line last night. Leonard Williams didn't play. So Goff didn't have Frank Ragnow. And yet still went 18 for 18. That's pretty impressive. The spin move pass, the Ben Johnson calls, the check down to the dump pass to Sam Laporta which was absolutely incredible. On the 3rd down and 2, just watch the play design. I think Jeremy Reisman from Pride of Detroit put it on his Twitter. The play design where you fake the handoff out of the shotgun and then you roll right and you've got receivers down the field. You got linebackers off the play pass thinking it's a run to Montgomery, and you pull Laporta out from his tight end spot, put him in the flat for a 1st down. All of that has to come together throughout the day. Goff can have a bad throw, right? Normally, in an interception, or he threw the ball 55 times against Arizona or whatever it was, to go 18 for 18 is pretty impressive. Real impressive. And hopefully now this springboards Goff. And again, with the timing of everything, you got a bye week this week, which kind of takes the momentum away. But hopefully now this gets Goff into a better rhythm. But I really liked, and I think the more I thought about it, the more I rewatched the game when I woke up this morning. Ben Johnson did a fantastic job. The mix of run and pass. Seattle players saying the Lions weren't tough before the game. And then David Montgomery's trucking guys in the passing game. The amount of times that Gibbs and Montgomery are being carried by their offensive linemen. You watch a 3 or 4 yard run for the Lions, and it wears on the opposition. It's not just a 2nd and 7. It's not just it was a 3 yard run. The Lions wear you down. And I was looking at some power rankings today, and I know I'll fill out the lockdown one later on tonight for this week. There's some people that have the Lions back up near number 1 in the league, despite the fact Minnesota's ahead of them at 4-0 and Kansas City's at 4-0. The Lions are playing really well again. And this is now back-to-back weeks. They've been very physical, and I get it. The defense had its moments. There's some very angry people on the Facebook page about Terrion Arnold and my guy Joe Allen, who's an everydayer. He's all over me about Carlton Davis. I thought Carlton Davis had a really good game last night. PFF disagrees, but I like the way that Carlton Davis battled DK Metcalf all night. Remember, this is a guy that watched every snap last year and had to watch Cam Sutton and Kindle Vildor in the NFC Championship game. I'll take Carlton Davis. I'll take Carlton Davis. I thought he did a really nice job. Maybe didn't grade out as well. I'll tell you that in a second, but I like the way this team is kind of playing and gelling, and they could play better. The penalties are too high. Yes, Terrion Arnold's been flagged 8 times. 8 times the first 4 weeks, and there's a lot of grabbing going on. James Houston, 2 offsides penalties. Taylor Decker maybe didn't have his greatest effort last night, but you like how physical they're playing, and they wear on you. And you look and see too how teams do after they play the Lions. Teams are beat up after they play the Lions, and the next week they go out and get smashed. It happened to the Rams. It happened to the Bucks. It happened to the Cardinals. Right? The Lions wear on you, and this is the kind of identity. This is what Brad Holmes and Chris Spielman and Ray Agnew and Campbell and all that, Dan Campbell, all these people that put this team together. Sheila Hamp, Rod Wood, everybody. Yes, I'm including 222. This is what they envisioned. A team that just wears you down. And that's what happened with the Lions last night. Seattle at the end of the game last night, you could tell they were spent because the Lions were just very, very physical and punished them. And you love to see that with this football team. By the way, I mentioned Sheila Hamp. Kudos to Lions fans. If you remember the first time the Lions honored Calvin Johnson for getting into the Hall of Fame a few years ago, Sheila got on the microphone at halftime and was rousingly booed by Lion fans. Anybody with, Sheila Ford Hamp, anybody with that last name of Ford gets booed. It's how the ownership has been. Unfortunately, she has done such a whale of a job and has done so well that last night she got a very loud ovation. It was a great honor for Calvin Johnson to get the blue jacket and to join the Lions, Pride of the Lions group. Lomas was out there, all these guys, Golden Tate, Herman Moore on his phone taking videos. But it was a great event and there was no negativity about it. Just remember a couple of years ago, Calvin was out there telling everybody to stop booing Sheila. And this time around, she's getting a great ovation and she deserves it because this team is, you, the fans, have been waiting for a winner and you've got one now. and are very proud of what she has done to help build this team. So that was great last night. All right, PFF grades. Let's get you those coming up next. Also, the possibility that the Lions have something going offensively that could be record-breaking. We'll get into that too coming up next, right here on Locked On Lions. And Locked On Lions brought to you by our friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season right now with a big return on FanDuel. Like I said, America's #1 sportsbooks. When you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. It's not just a gambling site. They got everything at FanDuel. You get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet at FanDuel. Tigers, as I'm recording right now, playing the Astros. You want to put some money down on these day games, so much baseball to bet on. You can do so at FanDuel. Player props and everything else. Thursday Night Football coming up. All of that at FanDuel. Again, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel.com, official sports betting partner of Locked On Lions. All right, so usually we do this on Mondays because the Lions played on Monday night. We got the PFF grades for you from our friends at Pro Football Focus, who were the top 5 Lion performers on offense and defense, and the bottom 5 Lion performers on offense and defense. It's interesting because I watch a game and I go, oh man, I like how Carlton Davis played, or I thought Coyote Awashika had a good game. And then you look at the grades and you go, oh, PFF disagrees. But regardless, let's have at it after the Lions knocked off the Seahawks 42-29. Let's start on defense. No surprise. I'm telling you, PFF. Hey, look, Aiden Hutchinson right now is the Vegas favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. He's been that good. All right, he's been that good. Did not record a sack last night, but still leads the league with 6.5 sacks. Aiden Hutchinson graded out last night at a 91.2, highest grade on the team and on the defense. And what I find interesting about this number is they also said he had, this is PFF again, Pro Football Focus, Next Gen Stats had Aiden Hutchinson with 10 quarterback pressures last night. That's Next Gen. PFF had him for 15 quarterback pressures. 15? Like, I thought Aiden Hutchinson had a good game. Don't get me wrong. The spin move, he had it going on. He was in the backfield. He was harassing Geno Smith. But 15 pressures? Did you guys see 15 pressures? That means he's closing on the quarterback. He's close. I don't know if I saw 15, but they had him at a 91.2 grade, highest on the team. Second best grade on defense was Aleem McNeil at a 77, so a pretty big gap between Hutch and Aleem. Kirby Joseph, third at 74.7, another interception for Kirby Joseph. That's 3 on the year. He's having a really, really good season. Amik Robertson, I thought played very well last night in the slot, 73.0. And then Jack Campbell, who was a boss. Jack Campbell played very well. Forced a fumble, 5 tackle performance. His grade was 71.5. Those are your top 5 Lion players on defense from last night's victory over the Seahawks. Bottom 5 performers. This should not come as a surprise to you. And I'm going to tell you this now. I do not think he will be on this team at the end of the season. But James Houston, 29.5. He played 14 snaps. He had a couple of penalties, jumped off sides. Worst grade on the team, 29.5. Ben Neiman, 38.1, was second lowest on the defense. Kyle Pecco, the interior defensive lineman, 46.6. Brandon Joseph, the safety, 51.4, playing for the sick Brian Branch. And Alex Anzalone, who's out there for 90 snaps, of 52.9. Anzalone, and who else was it? It was one other guy played all snaps last night. No, he was the only one. Alex Anzalone was out there for every defensive play. 52.9 grade was fifth lowest on the defense. Those are your top 5 and bottom 5 Lion performers on defense. On offense, number 1 for the Lions, I thought it was going to be Jared Goff, but it wasn't. It was Sam Laporta, who checks in at an 87.1 grade. Jared Goff, 80.9, came in second. Tim Patrick, who all of a sudden has established himself as a quality third and fourth receiver for this team, did some good job blocking last night, caught a couple of balls, 80.1. Taylor Decker, 79.3, was fourth, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, fifth at 77.2. So those are your top 5 Lion performers on offense. Bottom 5 Lion performers offensively. Graham Glasgow played center last night, 54.6. Coyote Awashika, 56.2. I didn't think he was that bad at left guard, but hey, second lowest grade. Brock Wright, third lowest at 57.0. David Montgomery, 65.1. Jamison Williams, 67.8. Still got a game ball despite having a grade in the 60s, but still not a bad grade, but that was graded out lowest of the guys that played at least 10 snaps last night. So those are your top 5 and bottom 5 Lion performers on offense and defense from our friends at Pro Football Focus. They love Aiden Hutchinson at PFF. Look, what's not to love? But I didn't see 15 pressures in that game. But still, he's everywhere. And the Lions need to figure out if they can find somebody who can rush the passer on the opposite side of Hutch. They're going to have to figure that out. Josh Pascal, what did Pascal grade out last night? I didn't see him. Josh Pascal, let me give you his numbers. Josh Pascal was graded out at a 67.7, middle of the pack. I just think the Lions need to find another edge rusher somewhere. If it comes from the practice squad, it's Ukwu or Gude or somebody like that. Lions could be in the market for somebody around the trade deadline. All right. Speaking of Lion records, here's something to chew on here. And this is from our crack research staff. They know who they are. Thank you. No team in NFL history has featured 2 1,000-yard rushers and 2 1,000-yard receivers in the same season. A team has only featured 2 1,000-yard rushers 7 times. I believe Mack and Biner did it in 1985 with my old Browns. And none of these teams had even an 1,000-yard receiver that year. Think about this right now. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jamison Williams all have 250 yards in their respective rushing and receiving categories right now. So they are on pace for 1,000. If their paces hold through 4 games, they would be the first team to do it. Think about that for a second. All the weapons the Lions have. We complain about, how come Laporta's not touching the ball? How come this guy's not touching the ball? Gibbs and Montgomery could go for 1,000. J-Mo and Amon-Ra could go for 1,000. And no team has ever done that. Again, Laporta could take some of that away if he starts heating up from guys like Amon-Ra and J-Mo, but Jamison Williams is growing. Jamison Williams, we're seeing now, is taking that step that we've been waiting for 3 years. And man, when he caught that ball last night, turned the corner, he was gone. You cannot teach that kind of speed. The Lions have 2 guys, Gibbs and J-Mo, that just, when they're in the open field, it's over. And you throw that kind of speed in there with the power that the Lions have with Montgomery, with these tight ends that really can block, like Brock Wright and Laporta. Goff getting the ball out quick. It's a dangerous offense. We've been waiting. Campbell said it. We knew it was coming. A 42-point explosion like that against a decent defense. Yeah, look, Mike McDonald's done a really good job. I know they were banged up, but Woolen was out there. Witherspoon was out there. The Lions had their way with the Seahawks last night. So pretty cool. Lions are on pace to do something no team has ever done. 2 1,000-yard rushers, 2 1,000-yard receivers. And there's been some great offenses out there. The greatest show on turf and, The Chargers of the early 80s when they had Muncie and Brooks and they had Joyner and Wes Chandler. Guys, there are plenty of guys you can think about and go, man, 2 backs, two receivers. Nobody has ever had 2 1,000-yard rushers and 2 1,000-yard receivers on the same team. So that is could be pretty special company for the Lions. All right. A lot going on in Las Vegas with Davante Adams. I'm not telling you I think the Lions are going to do this, but could the Lions be a sleeper destination for Tay? I'll tell you why it's possible coming up next. But first, Locked On Lions brought to you by Gametime. I've been telling you about the Gametime app. I was talking to my buddy, Michael Spath. He took his son last week off the Gametime app to one of those Tiger Day games. Check out Gametime. It's fantastic. That view from your seat, you know exactly where you're sitting. They move you right, they move you left. It's a great feel. Gametime has a new feature as well called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. All right. They got the views from your seat. They got priority stuff. All right. The lowest price guarantee or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. You can't beat that. Come on now. And this isn't just for sporting events. All right. Also for concerts and other shows that you want to go see. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? It's game time. Appreciate you all sticking with me. Voice is a little bit better than it was last night as I kind of fight through some little sinus and cold stuff here over the last couple of days. Locked On Lions. Lions off for a bye this week. They'll be watching certainly what Minnesota does. They're going to be playing the Jets, I believe, in London this week. Think about this, and I want to bring this up on tomorrow's show, but the Lions schedule is really going to tell you something the next 4 games, isn't it? At Dallas, at Minnesota, home to Tennessee, really the next 5 games. Home to Tennessee should be pretty easy. Then at Green Bay and at Houston. Lions' next 4 road games are Dallas, Minnesota, Green Bay, and Houston. Whew, 4 out of 5. Thanks, schedule maker. All of a sudden, that Minnesota game looks kind of big, doesn't it? The Vikings will be off a bye when they take on the Vikings, or when they take on Minnesota in 2 weeks. 3 weeks. Excuse me. All right. The Raiders have got some issues. Davante Adams wants out. All right. According to reports, Antonio Pierce liked some picture on Instagram or something that was a shot of somebody saying the Raiders should trade Davante Adams. Adams goes on the Kay Adams show today, says he hasn't even talked to Antonio Pierce. He's coming back from a groin injury. He's trying to rehab and play this week against Denver. It's a mess out in Las Vegas. The Raiders are terrible. And now reports say the Raiders are going to talk to teams. They're just going to talk about what a trade could look like to ship Davante Adams out of town. He's in the midst of a 5-year, $140 million contract. He has 3 years left on his deal. If you trade for him now, you got to pay him $14 million this year, the rest of this season. But then next year's number goes up to like $35 million. Are the Lions really going to pay next season Amon-Ra $30 million and Davante $35 million? He's also 32 years of age. He's not the player he once was. But this is a team going for it. All right. The Lions have Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams playing at a high level. Tim Patrick's been a cute story. Big-bodied receiver, makes plays. He's done okay. Khalif Raymond has not touched the ball much, but they like him. But could the Lions be going for it? According to Adam Schefter, the Raiders are looking for at least a second-round pick and other considerations. I don't know what other considerations are. They're looking for number 2. Remember this. Brad Holmes does not have a 3rd-round pick in this upcoming draft. He traded it to draft Giovanni Manu. So if you want to do a pick swap to get your third back, maybe you do something like maybe you trade your 2 to the Raiders, but then maybe you trade next 2026's third to get a 2025 30 to a pick swap. Maybe Brad Holmes has something up his sleeve. We know he loves draft picks. Draft capital is how he's built this team. I still think it's a long shot, but I think the Lions should call the Raiders. Why not? Make the phone call. Imagine Adams, St. Brown, and Chamo. Minnesota Vikings are all of a sudden your competition in this division. What are the Vikings doing? Brian Flores is dialing ish up on that defense. Yes, Sam Darnold's playing really well, and Justin Jefferson's Justin Jefferson, and all of that. Aaron Jones is there. But can you imagine Davante Adams, Amon-Ra, and J-Mo? That'd be pretty cool. I don't know if there'd be enough footballs to go around when you talk about Laporta, Gibbs, and Montgomery too, but why not pick up the phone? No, don't pick up the phone and call Applebaum and Stone. I know the commercial. Pick up the phone. I'm just saying, why not a phone call? Could the Lions be a sleeper for Davante Adams? I'd look into it. Lions have some cap space. Do they wait till the deadline when they only have to pay him about $10 million and don't pay the full 14 now? It's possible. Raiders aren't in a hurry to make this big deal, but it's obvious Davante wants out. You know, Kansas City's looking for receivers. You know that now that Rice is out. You know the Jets would love to get him and reunite him with Aaron Rodgers. Buffalo has lost receivers. But from the Lions, I make a phone call. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'd pick up the phone. All right, this has been a Tuesday edition of Locked On Lions. Thanks, everybody, for making us your first listen and checking us out wherever you get your podcast. Trey Wingo, either tomorrow or Thursday, we will bring that to you. And have a great night, everybody.